Hi, I'm Elizabeth Nemec. I'm an audiologist here at ENT and Allergy in our Hackensack office. And today I want to introduce you to Vincent Laurentino, and we're going to chat about what his experience with hearing loss and hearing aids are today.
Okay.
So, how long have you been wearing your devices?
I've been wearing the devices for 2.5 years now, and it's been going very well.
And how long have you had hearing loss?
I've actually had hearing loss since I was a little kid. When they did the hearing tests in school, I never passed them.
Okay.
But I never got hearing aids.
All right. Was it ever offered to you, or?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Because they always told me the sounds I couldn't hear were in a range that wouldn't affect everyday life.
All right. So do you feel that it got worse over time?
It definitely got worse over time.
Right.
No question about that.
Right. So 2.5 years ago, we met.
Yes.
And we did a hearing test, and we found your hearing loss.
Yes.
Do you remember it back then?
Yes, because I always knew that I had hearing loss, and I hadn't gone to the hearing doctor in a long time. And I was riding one day behind a bus that had ENT advertisement on the back. So I shouldn't be talking, but I picked up my phone and I called up, and that's how I ended up coming,
Okay.
because I knew over the years I was getting worse.
All right. Was your family complaining?
They were complaining, yes.
Yeah.
Because I don't realize, because when you have hearing loss, you don't know what you're not hearing,
Right.
but everybody else has a highly elevated volume.
Right. And I remember when I saw you for the first time, you were slightly reluctant.
Yes.
You remember that? And we sent you home with a test drive.
Yes.
So you wore them for a week.
Yes.
And you came back in. And so was that a bit of a revelation?
Yes, because when you have hearing loss, you don't realize what you're not hearing until you start hearing it. And then it's like, well, wow, I never heard that before. So you can see a difference between wearing the hearing aids and not wearing the hearing aids.
Can you give me some examples? Like what things did you realize you
Yes.
weren't hearing?
Actually, we have a refrigerator in my house. And when I was putting the groceries away, my wife was yelling at me and my son was yelling at me because I kept the doors open because it was just easier to put the groceries in. So finally they're like, would you please close the door? I'm like, well, why are you worried that I'm wasting electricity and the cold air is coming out of the refrigerator? They're like, no, you don't hear that annoying beeping sound? And I could not hear the annoying beeping sound. But now with my hearing aids, it's funny because now I hear it all the time. And
Right.
It constantly beeps when you leave the doors open.
Uh-huh.
So those are things that I just never heard.
Right. And so then we fit you after
Yes.
you did your test drive, and we fit you. And so it's been 2.5 years that you've been wearing them. So what kind of changes have happened since you've worn them?
You know, with my hearing loss, I found that I would stay out of certain conversations. If there's large groups, if you're at a party or something, you kind of shied away because it was just too difficult to get in a conversation when you didn't hear what somebody was saying.
Right.
Now it's great because now wherever I'm at, I can engage in people and talking because I can hear exactly what they're saying.
Right. What about the technology that's in these devices? The connectivity, the app, are you using that?
Yes, I love the technology
Okay.
because I can control it. If I'm in a situation where it's a little bit louder and I need to raise the volume up, I can raise the volume of my hearing aids. Talking on the phone is a whole new experience because I would avoid talking on the telephone because I couldn't hear. Now that these are Bluetooth, I can turn my phone on and turn the volume up, and I can actually engage somebody in the conversation.
Right.
So it's great to talk to people on the telephone.
Who knew?
Yes. But when you lose your hearing, you don't know what you're not hearing. So
Right.
You don't know until you get it back. And you're like, wow, that really is.
Right, it's true. And lots of people have no concept. And oftentimes it's the people around them that are more aware than the actual patient themselves. Would you say that's true?
Yes. In fact, now when we're watching TV, I'll ask them, how's the volume for you on the television? Is it normal? Is it low? It's like, oh, it's a little bit low right now. But if I have my hearing aids turned up, it's perfect for me so I can fit in a more normal environment.
Right. So you're doing something very different right now, aren't you? You're embarking on an election.
Yes. And actually, without my hearing aids, I wouldn't have ran for the election.
Okay.
Because it was just too hard to talk to people when you have to understand what they're saying.
Right.
If you're in a conversation in a casual, you can kind of fake your way through, nod your head and laugh. But when I'm running for an office, I need to hear what they're saying, understand what they're saying so I can give an appropriate response.
Right.
So yeah, without my hearing aids, I would have never ran for any election.
And I would assume too that if you do end up sitting on a board of ed, you're sitting in a lot of meetings and talking to the public, answering
Yes.
angry questions.
Yes.
right?
And that's important because in those large settings, without my hearing aids, it's kind of hard to understand what people are saying.
Mm-hmm.
And the other big thing is when the person sitting next to you is whispering something in your ear,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't hear it. So I have to tell them, you can't whisper, I can't hear you. Now, my hearing aids and people can whisper to me, and I can actually pick it up and understand what they're saying. So
Right.
it's very important.
Right, so it's been a doorway to some other things for you.
Tremendous doorway.
That's great. So what would you say to people who either don't feel that they need them or are waiting for some unknown reason?
I'd highly recommend that people get hearing aids because, like I said, you don't know what you're not hearing. And then once you start hearing it, it just opens up so many more doors. And it's so easy now to engage people in conversations. Because I always thought I could hear the noise,
Mm-hmm.
but I can understand what they were saying. Like, I'm not deaf. But then once you put the hearing aids in, you realize it's the different sounds that I was missing that now I'm getting. So I would have to recommend to anybody to get hearing aids. It just makes life so much more enjoyable, better.
Right,
Yes.
and comfortable.
Much more comfortable, especially being around people that I couldn't understand in the past.
Right, and I would assume that people don't even notice that you're wearing them in terms of cosmetics, right?
I thought people noticed them a lot,
Uh-huh.
but a lot of times people wouldn't realize it until I told them I had earrings. Because to me, it's obvious that I have them in,
Right,
but other people don't notice them. Even with my hair short, a lot of people don't see them at all.
right. I mean, and the other thing is that people just don't stare at your ears. They stare
they
at your
do not.
face, right, when they talk to you?
Hopefully.
Yes. What else would you say were the positive aspects other than being able to, do you feel, so a lot of people will say that it's more, that they're more relaxed, that it's less stressful, they're less tired at the end of the day. These are sort of things that kind of speak to your overall health when you're not struggling as much.
Stress is 100% correct because whenever I was engaged in a conversation, I was trying to be so focused on what they were saying and worried that I was going to miss something. That's why I said I would avoid certain conversations
Right.
because it was just easier.
Mm-hmm.
And now by hearing aids in, I can sit in these conversations and be relaxed. And you don't realize how stressful those conversations are until you put the hearing aids in.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're like, wow, I'm actually talking to people and hearing what they're saying, and I'm not worried about it.
Right.
Like I said, when you're in a casual conversation, you're not overly concerned.
Right.
When you're in a more serious conversation or a work type environment where you have to pay attention, I was a detective for many years,
Right.
and I learned how to get around my hearing.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if somebody gave me their name, I couldn't understand it. I said, okay, well, how do you spell that? And they'd be like, Sue, S-U-E. Okay, and I would just play it off that way. And that was stressful, paying attention. Now I could just sit back,
Right.
be relaxed, and enjoy life.
There you go. So if you or a loved one are concerned about hearing loss, please visit our website at www.entandallergy.com and make an appointment to come in and see us. You never know.